I really think it's important to always maintain a mental picture of what it is you're trying to achieve, because there can be so many distractions that, you know, you end up some different place. So I'd like for you to see the background that caused BAYWORK to get here. And it's one I want to mention that I think would apply to other industries as well. The problems that I'm going to be describing are not unique to the water wastewater industry. They are endemic in a culture which has highly complex jobs and an underfunded education system. Right? That's kind of the summary of what we're up against here. So, as was mentioned before, BAYWORK's focus is on jobs that we've defined as mission critical, and it's a combination of engineering jobs and skilled trades jobs. The thing that you would want to note about that, maybe we will have to close that door, is that all of these take some kind of vocational training. You can't just show up and say, I'm ready to be an instrument tech today. That's not how that works. There's really complex technical training that has to happen to get you there. And for that, it's not enough that there be places that provide vocational training. That's necessary, but that's not sufficient. Two other things have to also be in place, some other components in place. One is that people need to be motivated to go into skilled trades. And we're currently in a situation where all the push is you need to get a 4-year education. So then later, good luck when you've got your 4-year education in anthropology, see what job that gets you, you know? So there's a kind of a narrow vision of what it means to be a contributing member of society, and people think it's going to be a 4-year job. People are not aware of skilled trades jobs. It's not just that they're not aware of the water wastewater industry and the skilled trades job. They are not aware of skilled trades jobs, period. They do not know mechanically how anything is happening in this world. So, so what was happening was that I would go into, we've been involved with trying to do outreach for a long time. And so I would go into high school classrooms with kids, and what really became very apparent to me is that they're in this state of combination of fear and denial, and then they try to mask that with bravado. So it just breaks my heart, really, because they don't anymore have any idea what they're going to do for a living than a man in the moon. And 98% of them seem to hope they're going to make a living designing video games. I'm thinking there's not room for all of them in that market. So, but it's just that they have no idea what real jobs are, or how you would get them, or how much money you could make if you went there, or least of all, what skills you might need to be learning in this minute so you'd have some shot at it. So it's very misleading to say, to go into vocational training, you just need a high school degree. You need a high school degree. You need to actually know something. You need to have learned something in high school. So the fact that you managed to drift through the gate, right, doesn't mean that you have learned the skills you're going to need to be successful in vocational training. So many students are graduating, and did they graduate? Yeah. Have they learned the skills that are going to be needed for them to be successful in vocational training? No. It didn't occur to them. I think a lot of young people now honestly think that through the magic of the computer, the computer's going to do the math for you, the computer's going to do the science for you. They don't see, they see highly automated functions like retail clerks, right? They don't understand all the technical jobs and the skills that are necessary behind this to make functions happen. So here's a kind of statistic, which is, to me, very surprising. Very few high school students are graduating, really, with math as an example, prepared to really do college-level work. So what happens? What happens is just what you would think would happen. They go to community college, they think they're ready, they're not ready, there's a very high dropout rate. And then with vocational training, even more so. So what I kept hearing from, as we were trying to partner from way back with community colleges, is that we've got the program, theoretically this should work for high school students. It's not working for people who just graduate from high school, we're getting people coming back from the military. Okay, the military helped educate them, right? And, or we're getting people who maybe got a 4-year education and God knows what, and they can't find a job and they're thinking, man, I need to learn something where I can actually put some food on the table. So the vocational training is working for those groups, but don't we want to help? Yes, we do. Those people who are in high school who we want them to not be expendable. We want them to be functioning members of society for their sakes as well as our sake, right? We just want that for them. So those are the two of the factors in developing this. So this is an example. We're working on a white paper right now where we're documenting, if you want to end up as a machinist, here's what you should be doing back in high school or maybe even in middle school to prepare. This is a message that we are not getting down into the schools, that really you're going to have to learn something. And so we're wanting to help those teachers who no doubt are trying to struggle to get the attention of these kids who have no idea that it really would be in their best interest to learn what that teacher is trying to teach them. So when we think of this, we talk about making people aware of jobs in the water wastewater industry, yes. But one of the things that I think is the least helpful that we do is go in, well, it's got its benefits, but to just do rah-rah come in the water industry, but not say the part of, and for us to accept you into the water industry, you're gonna have to be able to do X, Y, and Z and help them see a path that they're gonna have to participate in of getting there. So it's very consistent with that, both that we've got a water wastewater component of these things, where we've got the personal stories and talk about the water wastewater industry, but it's also very much part of our mission to help them learn the skills so that they will actually know what they need to know for us to accept them into what we're doing for a living, which is very high tech, and we need people to be able to prepare to do the job. So the videos show real people doing real jobs and needing to use these skills, which I think is really important, where we have, as you saw, the candidate development videos that show the personal stories. Again, we're trying to engage them more with us as people and see it as something that maybe they could do themselves, and then providing the companion curriculum, which you saw illustrated in the first panel. So I have never found that, like when I'm going around with a bunch of water wastewater people, that people say, are you guys from Hollywood? I mean, really, it just, you know, maybe, you know, soon, but that's just really never happened. So we're not used to writing scripts, right? That's not our normal form of business writing. We're not used to memorizing dialogue, and the concept that, well, maybe you can just wing it, that maybe all those actors making the big bucks are winging it. No, they're not. They learned their script. We're not trained actors, right? We're doing our best. Not trained, and most of our agencies don't have trained videographers, and so we're lucky that we had Joe Zimbo, who's doing filming this today. He also was able to help us with some of our filming. We're very grateful for that. But the thing of it is, sometimes people say, you know, I was prepared for my job. The way it is in any industry, I think, is that if you're paying attention, they're going to need to stretch, but we've got to stretch. We've got to stretch as an industry. This isn't what we used to do. I can speak to this. This isn't what we were doing a long time ago. But you know what? There's a lot of stuff we weren't doing a long time ago. And so it's good for the students that we stretch ourselves for their sake and do these videos and create these products, but frankly, it's also good for the industry that we stretch ourselves and we learn these skills, because we're using a different kind of media to convey information, videography, which is not something that has been something that our industry has used much, but if we want to move forward with technical training and documentation, and if we want to speak effectively to younger workers, we've got to work with images and we've got to work with video. Our ways that we've trained people in the past are too primitive. And one of the things that I have observed with kids is pitiful a lot of times, what their literacy skills is. As far as reading and writing, not a strength. They think text, that's kind of, why would you ever need to do more than text something with 6 words in it? But I'll tell you how they're real sophisticated. They're real sophisticated about video. They're real sophisticated about images. And if we want to communicate effectively with them, we've got to stretch and we've got to be able to bring those resources to it and bring those skills to it as well as an industry. So we're doing something that's good from a candidate development point of view, but also in my view, we're doing something that will help us if we build to meet it, where we will also be developing internal skills and capacities that we can direct to our own training needs. So we aren't Hollywood, okay. I've come to terms with that. I don't know about you guys, but you know. But who we are is we're water and wastewater staff who want to help educators teach students the skills they will need to be successful, and that's what we're trying to do here. So I'm going to turn over to Kory. This has been, and it's going to continue to be, a learning process. So we're going to always look back and think, man, that wasn't so good, right? So, but my whole life feels that way. So we just kind of have to be okay with that. You know, plunge forward, do the best we can at any given moment, expect that we'll continually think, oh, we need to add this, we need to do this different. So if you can just kind of get comfortable with always doing things wrong to a certain degree, it's really helpful. So then
that's a very good piece of advice that I've got to really incorporate.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, when my stepson started taking jiu-jitsu and being in these competitions and he lost, I said, you know, if you can get comfortable, this is really going to be a big help with you. But anyway, so it's just a continuing evolution that we need to be calm about because we're coming out of our best intentions, right?
Right. We have good goals.
We do.
I like to think of us as a grassroots effort. So if you keep the term grassroots in mind, it's, you know, we're all trying to achieve a goal here, and we're all slightly nearsighted or a little blind or just kind of finding our way. And one of the things that I've got a few photos here of what we did along the way was, you know, the brainstorming and our kickoff meetings were kind of our opportunity to kind of introduce people that in the normal walk or world of life we wouldn't really run into, right? Because teachers and instructional designers and wastewater and water operators, they usually get an opportunity to meet each other and kind of share ideas. So we're coming from different directions. So we'd have our kickoff meetings. We would do some brainstorming, try to come up with an idea of a story, a script, and then we had a lot of evolution. We started with, I typed up on Microsoft Word with different colors for different names, so, right? And then thanks to Joe, Joe's really my go-to guy. Joe actually is a videographer, unlike me, who does videography as best she can. But he is actually the pro here. And so he suggested this program called Celtex, which I'm going to refer to later. And it's $100 a year for an annual subscription fee, and it was totally worth it because it makes it look really cool, right? Same stuff, just kind of, and I just kind of imported it in, and I'm like, wow, Hollywood, here we come. Screenwriter, right? Awesome. So Celtex is it, and Celtex does a lot of other things too. I'm not trying to sell that particular program, but what we're trying to do is, I mean, get other people to also do this, other agencies, to other organizations, other businesses, to, you know, take it on themselves to kind of do this so that we can have a how-to guide going forward. So Celtex is the way to go, I think. So again, the storyboard evolution from my Kory original on the left to the same storyboard, but just now it's looking a little fancier, a little more professional. I mean, it has the same information in it, but it looks nicer in a binder, so, right? And then that's another thing we would do. In most instances, we would go out ahead of time. We would scout out locations a couple days before the shoot, say, okay, this would be a nice place to shoot the video. And then this is also another evolution. The call sheet, I would just kind of originally say, well, actually, the very, very first one we did with The Perfect Storm, I showed up and they're like, so what should we film first? And I was like, that's a good idea. What should we film first? I don't know. And then we kind of, then I started lessons learned, right? I started thinking, okay, before the next one, let's make a list of what we're going to film and in what order. And then this more professional one on the right is something that Joe Zumbo again came up with, and it's really helpful for people that they don't have to be filming all day long. So they have a call time. They're filming in the afternoon. They're only in one scene, so we don't have to have them there from 9 in the morning. So I use Premiere Pro Creative Cloud editing software. That is very good. I like it. So, and although I haven't shot all the videos, I've edited them all. So currently I have a Nikon D-5200 camera with tripod and a clip-on lapel. In the future, we're hoping to get a real live video camera with a boom, perhaps a second mic, some other things that would be really helpful to have when you're shooting these kinds of things. All right, so this is our what we did thanks to Sue Tensfield making recommendations for all this wonderful stuff that we've created. Where can people access it? Well, now it's on our BAYWORK website, so you can actually go to baywork.org. You can click on the events. It's actually on the workshop for today, and we have listed all the videos, all the scripts, all the curriculum. Everything is PDF downloadable, and you can just use it, and that's what it's there for. So we're really hoping that people will take that car and start driving it. Now it's back to Cheryl.
We'll build on the thought like TUI had of trying to take a program but have other components of it that will link with other skills that students need to learn, so that there might be a writing component even if it's primarily a math problem, for example. Another thing that I'd like to do is for us to develop a handout that would go with every set of this curriculum, that would be a page that every student would get that would give them the link to the BAYWORK website, that would show the pictures of the guys in the video like we show them on the website, and the link to those specific, their personal stories, so that, again, that we're trying to draw them closer to us. So part of what will be on, well, probably not teacher microsite, but a component within the BAYWORK website that's geared to teachers, making them aware of all the kind of materials we have. So we do hope for the future too to probably have workshops with teachers to help make them more familiar with how to use these kind of learning materials. So part of what we'll be hoping that you can offer us is thoughts about how we can make those connections and go out into the community of teachers, because that's less familiar to us, so that we can not just have something stuck on a website that no teacher's ever heard of in the planet, right? I mean, we're not exactly a household world. So it's really going to be on us, even if we've got the materials posted, to do the marketing to make people aware of it and then help teach them to use it. As Kory mentioned, this is something that we're doing now within the water wastewater industry, but one of the things that I had done in the past has gone to, for example, the East Bay manufacturing initiative group that's working, because the same problems we're having with getting machinists, Cheryl's having that problem with machinists, Dow's having that problem with machinists. So it's a whole cultural thing that we've moved away from providing training for the skills trades which are necessary for industry. So my hope is that additionally we can think how to reach out to other industries that have exactly the same kind of problem that we're having in relation to the skilled trades. So these are some of our thoughts about future actions that we want to go into. Oh, thank you. And so our goal is to, as I said, to create a learning community with subject matter experts and educators that are working together for the next generation, which I think is where our motivation is.